With Renegades right around the corner, I wanted to do a series leading up to it going over the best builds for each class and subclass. If you're a new or returning player, I really hope these videos can help get you started, as some of these builds are pretty crazy now. All of these builds are going to be made so you can use whatever weapons you would like to, but I will go over some recommendations that fit with each subclass. On top of that, these builds are not going to be taking advantage of any artifact perks, so you have a clean slate once Renegades launches. I am going to be recording these builds ahead of time, so if any patches come out to change this around, I will update the description down below. As a final note, there are a lot of great builds in Destiny, so if you have one that's similar to this one or even better, definitely be sure to drop it in a comment down below. Again, as this series is to give a place for new returning players to get back into the game a lot quicker. So with all that being said, if you enjoy, learn anything new, and are excited for Renegades, consider doing all the normal YouTube stuff. All of the support is what allows me to make series like this for you all, and I truly appreciate all the love that you show. But without further ado, let's jump into today's build. All right, everyone, we have finally made it to the final subclass, and that is going to be all about solar. And this one we'll be talking about the Warlock. For this one, you're going to want to run the exotic Starfire protocol because it has the exotic perk Fusion Harness. Fusion grenades have an additional charge and recharge from empowered weapon damage. With empowered weapon found on blows granting more energy. Defeating targets with fusion grenades grant rift energy. So as you see here, if we get rid of our grenades and then we get radiant, we'll actually be able to basically just generate grenade energy by doing damage, which is just crazy strong, because the whole core of this build is going to be around spamming grenades as much as possible. Now, if we actually get kills while we're radiant, we're going to get even more energy. It kind of works like demolitionist in a way. So again, we'll throw our grenades out, we'll get radiant here, and now that we're going to be getting kills, as you see, you're going to get a pretty hefty chunk of grenade energy, and you're going to be able to spam grenades all the time. The other part of the exotic is that you get your class ability energy back. I know it says Rift specifically, but you can also run Phoenix Dive, and essentially if you get a grenade kill, if my Hellion wouldn't get a kill right there, as you see, you will actually get your class ability back, so you can spam this a lot as well too. So those two parts are going to be the main thing for this build. First off, we're going to be running Touch of Flame because this is going to buff our grenades. We're going to run the Fusion Grenade obviously to pair with Starfire Protocol, and what it does is just basically makes the grenade explode twice, which it will do a ton of damage. Now our next fragment is actually going to be Hellion. So what this is going to do is when you activate your class ability, you're going to get this little solar buddy by your side that will actually go out and shoot enemies. It does a good amount of damage because it will actually count as your grenade stat, and it will also scorch enemies, which will also be able to play into our subclass and things of sort. Since it counts as grenade energy, it's very good because not only you're going to be getting more damage with the fusion grenade with Touch of Flame, if you're invested into your grenade stat, you're also going to get a ton of damage with your Hellion, which is very nice. Now jumping into the fragment, you're going to want Ember of Torches so you can actually get radiant off your melee. When you are radiant, again, that will play back into Starfire Protocol because that is empowered damage. And then you're going to want something like Ember of Empyrean so you can keep the radiant up with every solar kill. This will work with your solar abilities, or if you do run a solar weapon, both will work very fine. And then Ember of Ashes just so you apply more scorch stacks. The more scorch stacks you apply with something like Hellion and Touch of Flame, you're going to be able to cause ignitions a lot more often. And then finally, just Ember of Searing, so whenever you defeat a scorch target, it will grant melee energy and a fire sprite. So as you see here, you can basically get a grenade kill or anything of the sort. You're going to make a fire sprite, and fire sprites will actually generate you more grenade energy, which is very good, so you can spam even more grenades. And since you're going to be able to just have all these additional scorch stacks, you're gonna be able to get radiant and keep that radiant up forever, because if you are radiant and do get scorch kills, as you see, you will actually be able to increase it. And then with all of the increased scorch stacks that you're making with Ember of Ashes, you're going to be able to cause a bunch of ignitions. You see here, if we spawn a boss, we can get a Hellion up, we can throw some grenades. You're going to be able to basically spam ignitions all the time, which is very good. And pairing that with all of the ability regen you get from Starfire, say if you're playing something like a Weld, it is very nice. But now let's talk about the abilities. We've already kind of mentioned them a little bit. For your super, I like to run Well because again, it kind of plays into that empowered weapon damage, lets you build grenades more often. But if you want to run Song of Flame, it's obviously a very good super. I like Phoenix Dive. This is going to be a very hefty chunk of your survivability. This is a very glass cannon based build, but since you can basically get your class ability all the time because you will be getting grenade kills all the time, it kind of does help out with that. For the grenade, obviously you run a fusion, and then for the melee, I like Celestial Fire just because it has a longer range and it works really well with Ember of Torches. So if you need to get radiant from far away, you can just throw that and now you're radiant, which is very nice. Now if you want to put on Incinerator Snap, you could also do that, but you are going to be very limited to the range to proc radiant. You have to be up close, as it kind of works like a shotgun, but you can actually basically snap the ground and cause an ignition extremely easy if you like to do that as well. but I prefer just running Celestial Fire because it really just pairs nice with the number of torches. Now jumping into the armor for stats, you are 100% going to want to run 200 grenade. This is going to be very strong to buff the damage of your fusion grenades, and again your Hellions, not just going to be your fusion grenades. Both of them will get the damage increase, so getting to 200 is very, very crucial for this build. I would then also just recommend getting to 100 super if possible, just so you can spam your well a lot more often, or whatever super you choose to run. And then I would go with weapons, since this is a radiant based build, because you want to do weapon damage to actually generate grenade energy. You can go into weapons, so your weapons can also do a ton of damage since you're going to be radiant. It's very, very nice pairing all that together. You don't need class ability because you're going to get it back with Starfire anyway, and melee and health isn't the craziest stat. Maybe if you want to invest in melee a little bit, but you do have Searing to kind of help get your melee back. But now for the armor mods, this is what I'm running if you like to copy them down. But as a closer look, I am running a harmonic siphon so I can make orbs with a solar weapon. If you're running a different elemental weapon, you can swap this out. Then access to assets and dynamo, so whenever I get kills with a grenade, I will get super energy, and then whenever I use my class ability near targets, I will get more super energy. You're obviously going to be doing this all the time with this build. That's what the chest piece is playing into. For the arms, I like to run harmonic loader to again get reload speed for solar weapons, but you can swap this out for whatever element that you're running, or if you don't even care about reload speed, you could literally do anything else. And then I run double firepower so I can make an orb run every 5 seconds. I do get a grenade kill. If you don't care about reload speed, pop on 3 firepowers and you'll get an orb every grenade kill. Next up is just going to be our chest piece. I run triple resistant mods here. Just swap these up whatever content that you're going into. And then for the boots, I like to run an Innervation, Orbs Restoration, and Absolution just to get even more grenade energy. With Innervation, you get more energy for your lowest cooldown ability, and then Absolution gets cooldown for everything. If you want to play into recuperation, run double recuperation, say something like Innervation, that is also totally doable for your survivability. But if you want just pure ability spam, this is definitely what I would recommend running. And then finally, I like to run a bomber, so I use my class ability. I get grenade cooldown. Obviously, the grenade will give you your class ability back, and your class ability can give you some grenade energy back. And then I like to run a powerful attraction, so I can pick all the orbs up around me when I use that class ability. And then a special finisher, so when I go for a finisher, I will be able to make special ammo for my team because I will always be at max armor charge stacks with all the orbs I am making. If you want to swap out special finisher for something else, you can. I just like it with this build, but you can run whatever you want to here. But now jumping into weapons, like I said in the beginning, this is crafted so you can run literally whatever you want to. However, I would probably recommend running a solar weapon because of Ember of Empyrean, so you can keep that radiant up. But do remember, this does also work on ability kills. So if you're getting grenade kills and Hellion kills, this will also just proc Empyrean. So if you want to run something that's not solar, you could totally do that, but obviously if you play into a solar weapon, it will be a little bit easier to keep Empyrean up. But jumping into set bonuses, honestly, all of these are pretty good and runnable. You have your normal things like the 2-piece smoke jumper and the 2-piece Aeon adapter. Even if you want to run Bushido, any weapon-based thing will work very well with this because this is also a weapon-focused build alongside, you know, ability-focused build. Now, I do want to mention you do have collective psyche here, so you can actually extend the duration of radiant if you do get the 4-piece. I don't think it's necessary because you have Empyrean, but that is there, which is pretty cool. And on top of all that, while you can't get it right now, but maybe you did get some back when the Solstice event was around, you have the Lustrous armor set. So rapid solar power blows to heal you, and then if you heal yourself, you get more bonuses for solar weapons and stuff like that. I love the 4-piece Lustrous with this set. I think it is very, very strong. But again, you can't really get this right now. So if you didn't get it, I would definitely probably just recommend something like the 2-piece smoke jumper and the 2-piece Aeon adapter, unless you are specifically paying into like a different type of weapon. Maybe even the 2-piece Bushido could be good too. But now for the final part of the build, this is the Transmog I'm running. Obviously, I went for a very fire phoenix theme look going on here with all the birds and wings and feathers. I took advantage of some of the Yellowhorn ornaments, which I honestly haven't really used these at all, and I took advantage of the Starfire Protocol ornament. Overall, I think it turned out looking pretty cool, and if you want to make your Warlock look like this, definitely be sure to copy it down. Anyways though, that's going to do it all for the Solar Warlock. Let me know what y'all think about it down in the comments below. Starfire has gone through a lot of phases to where it was literally one of the best things in the game, then it became pointless, and now it's very good again. I don't know if I would say it's the best Warlock build in the game per se, but it's definitely up there with the best Solar builds. You are competing with things like support Warlock as well, but I wanted to make a more solo offensive build with this series, so that's why I went with Starfire. But you're even also competing against things like Unoya for harder content, which is also pretty good. There is a plethora of good things for Solar Warlock. You really can't go wrong with what you use. I think Starfire is definitely the easiest and most fun to use, and that's why I wanted to put it together in today's video. Anyway, so that's going to do it all for me. Be on the lookout for the final 2 videos in the series about the Solar Hunter and Solar Titan. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Peace.